As part of the Design Clonmel project, which is an LIT campus project as part of the 4H Create European initiative in conjunction with Clonmel Junction Arts Festival, Fiona Curran, art team manager at StoryToys, gave a talk on the artwork behind the apps. StoryToys is one of the world's leading creators of innovative and entertaining children's apps for iOS, Android and other platforms. They invented the digital pop-up book, an idea that enthralled audiences around the globe when they released their first Grimm's tale Rumpelstiltskin in 2010. With the formation of StoryToys, they produced many award-winning apps, including brand new creations like Animal Band and Pirate Princess, as well as apps based on classic fairy tales like Rapunzel and Puss in Boots. They also work on amazing licensed characters including Miffy, Elmo and Batman, to name but a few. In 2014, in partnership with Eric Carle Studios and the Joestra Loria Group, StoryToys brought the world's favourite caterpillar to life in the stunning interactive app My Very Hungry Caterpillar. To date, more than 5 million users have cared for their digital pet, feeding their caterpillar and watching it grow into a beautiful butterfly. Fiona's talk took place at the Art Centre on Wednesday the 23rd of October and was a great insight of working as part of a team in a digital company.
There's a series of talks and workshops and of course the LIT Career Day, and Fiona has already spoken 3 times at that, so it's really nice of you to talk to us again this evening. And I was very excited to hear that StoryToys were coming to Clonmel because I think it was one of the first apps that I downloaded for my son on the iPad back in 2011 maybe.
Yeah, 2012. Yeah.
So I think it's a very interesting mixture of all the different skill sets that people are working on up in the Clonmel Digital Campus, the LIT Clonmel Digital Campus. So I'll just pass you over to Fiona and she can introduce herself.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for extending the invitation and asking me to speak here. There's only a few of us here, so look, if there's any questions at any time, do jump in. No point holding back or anything like that, so I'm more than happy to take them at any time. So, my name is Fiona Curran and I am art team manager at Touchpress. A lot of people know us as StoryToys. We make app and games. So, just before I get into the company and what we're all about and what we're making, it's always interesting to kind of hear, well, I always like to hear people's paths into the industry and how they found themselves there. So I'm just going to share a bit about my background and how I got to the role I am now. So I've always loved to draw, absolutely loved to draw. I always watched cartoons, I drew cartoons, I played games. I knew from a very, very early stage that I wanted to draw and I wanted to keep this hobby as a career. There was nothing else in my mind's eye. I was going to do this. I wanted to create content. I wanted to make the content that I remember watching. So I was really passionate about this. Loved art throughout school. It was always my favourite subject. Artistic people, I think, tend to kind of really hone in early on what they want to do. And I was definitely one of them. I had heard, probably when I was about 10 or 11 or so, maybe even younger, I'd heard about an animation course in Ballyfermot. I remember seeing it on some RTE TV, RTE chat show, and I just honed in on this and I said, that is what I want to do. That's where you can learn how to do this. So I went there after I finished school. I did a bit of a portfolio course afterwards just to get the sense of what it was like to do art on a daily basis and just to give myself time to get a portfolio together. So I applied to Ballyfermot and I absolutely loved college. I would still be happily in college if I could. I just did every course available to me. There was a foundation course, diploma course, degree course, so I spent in total 5 years in Ballyfermot learning animation. And animation courses are such hard work. There's definitely a misconception that it's drawing pretty pictures and stuff, but animators and people working and studying that field will be some of the hardest working people you'll meet. So you really get a sense of what it's like and how much level of work is involved. So I really enjoyed the course. On our last year we did a full solo film where you had to make the whole production by yourself. And while it almost killed me, it was such a good learning curve. I got a sense of the full end-to-end scale of the production, from concept through to storyboarding, through to drawing it up, through to animating, through to rendering it out. So I finished up and I kind kind of didn't know what to do next. A lot of people identified a key area within the animation course that they wanted to pursue. So maybe background art, character design, concept, anything from cleanup, in-betweening, comping. There were so many kind of avenues, and everyone was going into a specialist section. And I wanted to do the whole production. I wanted the whole thing. And it was very hard to know where to apply that. So I took a bit of a step back and I did some freelance jobs, tried to get a sense of what that would be like. I'd always, because I said I love college, I'd always kind of thought, I'm going to do a master's someday. I thought it might be later on, but I decided to bring it forward. And for me personally, it was one of the best decisions I made. It really opened my eyes to how I could apply what I learned in the animation course elsewhere and just think a little bit bigger and cast a wider net in where to look and apply my skills. So while I was in that course, that was 2010, I decided to do a master's and I did it in NUI Galway. Galway's my hometown, so it was really nice to go back there and get that college experience, because Ballyfermot, kind of like Clonmel, is a very small little college, and I wouldn't trade that experience for anything in the world. It was amazing, but I did want to get a sense of a big college life and what that might be like. So the master's was really good. It was in digital media, and 2010 was an interesting year because apps were really kind of in their infancy, and the iPhone was out, I think, 2 years prior to that, but it was in 2010 that the iPad was released. And it really reinvented how publishing worked and storytelling. And I did always have a dream about making kids' books. It was definitely a goal I had set myself. It's one that you often hear is very hard to achieve. It comes kind of later. You have to build up such a portfolio in the traditional avenues. So the iPad and its potential really excited me. So as I was studying, I factored this into it, and I decided to do my dissertation on interactive storytelling and how it could work with children's literature. So I used to love those choose your own adventure books as a kid. So even before kind of interactive storytelling was actually a thing in the tech world, it did exist. The idea of multiple paths and being able to influence the narrative. So I decided to look at that. I studied interactive storytelling and its potential and did my dissertation on that. And when I finished, I saw that there was an ad for a junior artist role in an interactive storytelling company that were specialising in apps. And timing and luck is such factors when it comes to your career and your job prospects. And for me, it was just a sense of really good timing. And I kind of almost had to just wait for the tech to catch up and for that job role to exist. I'm sure it existed elsewhere, but that idea of working end to end, being a generalist, being involved in the whole thing, that suited a really small company and a startup company perfectly. So I applied there, and that was 8 years ago, and I'm still there now, and it's a testament to how much I'm enjoying it. I was pretty much in the first wave of being hired. I was the first artist hired. They hired one engineer and one artist, and I'm the longest serving employee there, so I've seen the company grow, I've seen it evolve, I've seen it change. When I joined, it was 4 of us in a little attic room, and now we're 25 people in Dublin city centre. So it's been a really exciting 8 years there, and seeing all the change and embracing it and seeing the company grow. And yeah, I mean, organically, my role kind of changed as we took on more people. It went from junior artist quickly to artist, quickly then to lead artist, and then our team manager. So 8 years ago, there wouldn't have been a team to manage. We were all just individuals making this content. But as the company grew, my role grew, and yeah, 8 years later, here I am. So we do a lot of work. I mean, Touchpress is the kind of collective name for our company. It encompasses StoryToys, which most people know us as. It encompasses Touchpress Games and Touchpress Media, which were portfolios that we acquired a couple of years ago, and we now manage that content. But what we actively produce mostly is the StoryToys branded content, and that's more kind of preschool up to 8 years old. So it's a subsidiary of Touchpress, and our goal is to entertain and educate children. And we're very passionate about building innovative children's apps of the highest quality that kids will love and the parents can trust, which is really, really important to us. So each of our apps is designed designed to help children learn, and all through play, through reading, sequencing, task coordination, other activities. And we really believe in sparking curiosity and stimulating the imagination. So there's a video here. It kind of acts as a little bit of a show reel, but it kind of gives you a bit of footage into our everyday working environment, and you'll see mostly us working with Lego bricks, Duplo bricks, and that will bring us on to one of our newest releases, which I'll talk about in a second. So you saw there a lot of Duplo bricks and a lot of people playing with them, adults included, all in the name of research. And this lovely product is our newest release. This is only out 2 weeks, so it's a really exciting time for us to finally get this out. You never know how to respond when an app finally gets released, but it's so good to have it out there. And this is only the beginning. The great thing about apps is you can keep adding to them. We have big plans with this, and so yeah, we released 2 weeks ago, and we were lucky to get some featuring straight away, and a nice prime spot on the App Store for some exposure.
Sorry, yeah, so that's the question. How long would you take to actually bring that to that level?
Bring this?
Yeah.
This has been a year in the making. Okay. Lego put out a call for developers to submit an idea to them, a prototype, and we submitted that just over a year ago. And it was the little submarine that you saw. We developed a little level that probably the highest fidelity prototype we've ever done. And just the opportunity to work with Lego, we were all so excited. And they told us that they wanted to work with us, and they trusted us with their brand. So that has been pretty much a year in the making, and we'll continue to work on with this and add sets to it and expand it.
Yeah. And the other apps as well that you can continuously work with, so there's a bunch of different things and the other.
Yeah, we have kind of 3 core apps I'll get into here, but we do have this, and we have a lot of subscription models, so we have to constantly be updating. And then there's the general maintenance of our back catalogue and doing what we can to get those out onto devices and stuff. So we're never finding ourselves with nothing to do. We're very busy. There's a lot of stuff to be doing.
How do you advertise this?
Yeah, so I mean, we do what we can. We get, whatever press releases we work towards an initial release date. We'll work with press releases, we'll send that out to people, promo shots, videos. When the app launches, we'll hand out promo codes. We'll do whatever we can. And when you're working with a brand, you're looking, because there is an established audience there. People know this content. It's really much loved across the world. So you will naturally and organically get an audience through that. But we do whatever we can. It is tough it's tough with every app in the app industry. It's such a saturated market.
And faddish. It's become very faddish.
Yeah, there's hundreds of apps being released on a daily basis. It's so easy to get lost and not get discovered in any way. So featuring is massively important. That's why when Apple do this, when they highlight our content, we breathe a sigh of relief, because it's us getting exposure. You're kind of at their mercy, really. It's never a guarantee that you're going to get featuring. You hope for it, but you are it's at their discretion, and they can kind of do it whenever they want. You might get a feature request. Yeah, you hope for it, but you can't rely on it.
So you get a decent slice of the cake then?
But not too bad. You pay like a yearly fee, I think, and that your developer fee, and that's they take it.
What's the age group?
For this?
What age range is the
For the Duplo app, we're targeting 1.5 to 5 years old, 5-year-old audience. Yeah, it's so good because it's a physical thing. That's why we have bricks everywhere in the office. We always try and prototype stuff. We put it down on paper and stuff, but Duplo exists. It is a real thing. It's real objects. You can play with it, and we really did everything we could to mimic that and make it look like Duplo and make it act like the Duplo bricks. So the rule was, if you couldn't do it in a physical set, you couldn't do it in the app. The dynamics wanted to be the same. So
their brand name too.
Yeah.
To have other products.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Lego is so big. It's we really, really hope that this is just the start. It's the start of this product, but we hope Lego has so many different sub brands and licensed brands within it. So we are very much hoping that this is the start of a relationship with them, and that we will be just adding and adding to it.
So is the newest release part of a body of apps? Like, for Mia grew up with Takabaka, and like,
Yeah.
there's always the Takabaka world.
Yeah.
To a shop, to a home, to
Yeah.
a fire station. Like, it's just part of the Duplo world.
It's setting up a Duplo world, yeah.
Right,
So
okay.
it's like open-ended activities, as you saw those kind of scenes, the number train, penguins, animal adventures, animals rescue
Right.
adventure. So we will be adding sets, and you can expand on that world over time. But it will all take place in the same app.
Yeah.
But like I said, we probably, fingers crossed, will be releasing other apps where maybe you can do the same and build on the world in there. But we definitely have every intention on expanding this world.
We had an original iPad back in 2010, and easily through 20 to 30 euro at apps at one app, which became a bigger app.
Yeah.
It started off at $1.99, but you realize that the kid played through the levels. There's this other one waiting, and you could get the other one or get two for the price of three for the price of two, and one I bought for five. Well, my credit card maxed out.
We try and give away as much content as we can for free. We really push to give as much away as possible, and we do really try and keep our prices of these products and these sets as low as we can. It can be hard as well sometimes because with the app market in general, people expect content for free.
Yeah.
Like the amount of reviews you get saying 1 star, I have to pay for this. It's like, well, we're giving you so much for free, and we really try, but we're 25 people, we need food on the table, we need to eat, we need to be paid, so there is that expectation of free content, and we do try and give it where we can.
When you were doing your masters, you were interested in basically I heard you say interactive books or the adventure, I think it's one called The Adventures of Morris Lessmore, was in the App Store, so it's the first interactive book.
Yeah, I think I remember that one.
There's a group of animators, probably 7 or 8, in New Orleans, right after Katrina hit, and they got a big grant of money to take a story, it's a real book, and make it into something for the iPad, and it was a 5-star Apple app, but it was based on real books. I'm just thinking, do you think Touchpress would explore the same thing, find some kids book, add it to a big grant, a cultural grant to produce this in electronic medium, because that's how those animators got their jump start. They had some kind of major grant going for them to go from text in a book to the iPad treatment. And it was in 2010, so it would have been a groundbreaking thing for them. I forget the name of the studio that that they're from, but Morris Lessmore is the name of the character.
Yeah.
It's so well done.
Yeah, I think I remember that. I remember in 2010, when I was starting to emerge, I was really immersing myself in everything out there just to study it. I mean, back then, the company did kind of exist. The very early apps this company made back when it was known as Ideal Binary were the pop-up books, and they were always based on existing stories like Grimm's fairy tales and stuff, and we went with that for a long time, and we started just evolving and changing our content. But we still go back to that model sometimes, that what we were doing years ago. We're still, we reuse a lot of the tech that we had a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It still proved very popular. So you saw in video lots of toy sets, and as I was saying, you can actually, this was just even taken yesterday, we were doing some workshopping for the upcoming winter release. We'll always try and do seasonal updates. Christmas is always an interesting time with the app market. People are getting devices for gifts and stuff, so you want to have content ready there so that people can download it over the holidays and enjoy it. But yeah, we've been working towards that. There's loads of Duplo currently in the office, but it's been such a nice product to work on, such a nice brand to work on, mainly because it exists and we're able to play with it and prototype it there and then. We are giving away some of that in competitions, unfortunately, but some of it is for us to do some research on. We're actively growing that project, Duplo World, and adding to it. Another world that we have is Disney Colouring World, and this was released just at the end of last year, but it's really kind of becoming the app we wanted to now. This is a subscription-based model, so by that, we mean that the user pays a subscription to access this app. So they either pay monthly or they pay a yearly fee. By them doing that, there is immediately a responsibility on us as a developer to keep adding to this. We want to give people value for what they're paying. If you're paying for a subscription, you would expect content. So there is a responsibility on us to be actively working on this And luckily with Disney, there's so much content, there's so many films coming out for us to piggyback off of and leverage from, that there's no shortage of content that we can be at. So this app has done really well. It's hit number 1 in the kids category in multiple territories. And like I said, now it's a really, really rich experience. When we initially released it as a version 1 back in December, it was a good app, it was a fine app, but the benefit of the subscription model and with us regularly updating it every couple of weeks is we can improve it, we can make it to be the product that we really kind of envisaged and dreamt of. So it's getting to that point now.
Bring your favorite Disney characters to life with Disney Coloring Book. Then play with any combination of them in one of the beautiful 3D playsets. Explore your creativity. The only limit is your imagination. Relive iconic Disney moments or create entirely new stories. Try the free 7-day trial before you decide. And remember that there is more exclusive content being added every month.
Yeah, so
What's the deal with Disney working that you can use all those characters?
well, that's one of the big challenges with working with a company like Disney. They are very precious about their brand, and so they should be. They spent years cultivating it, and we have to factor that into the production and the time. And it's one of the biggest key factors working with established brands is that kind of turnaround time. If we do something, we need to send it off for their approval. We can't just put out what we want to do and what we think is best. We have to pretty much get approval with Disney on everything. If we wanted marketing, these here are marketing assets that we put up, we would have to get approval on every one of those. They might come back with feedback, and over time you get to know the kind of all the nuances and what to expect from their feedback, and those tiny turnarounds get produced. But yeah, absolutely, they're very precious with their content, and there's rules in place, there's visual styles that we have to adhere to, and we just have to factor that into the time and the production.
Because I noticed Buzz Lightyear and Woody came up there.
Yeah.
And a couple of slides back, I was looking at your StoryToys.
Yeah.
It's very like toys, like it's all very smart marketing. No?
Yeah, I mean, it can only be a benefit for us. I remember years ago when we were actually thinking of a name change, and we were kind of joking, kind of saying, oh, that might actually help us, keywords and stuff and searches. So, yeah, why not? Yeah, so I mean, Disney are very, very protective.
You obviously pay them big royalties to use their characters.
There would be agreements, and they're definitely getting a good cut of this, but we're getting access to their audience, so it works both ways, really.
I can just ask him, all about you were saying with the Lego Duplo app that they put out a code.
Yeah.
Was it the same with Disney, or did you approach them?
No, so Disney the Lego situation doesn't come about often. They even paid for us to take the time to do the prototype. That situation almost never occurs. Disney, we have worked with Disney in the past before, years ago, and some apps. We did a tie-in release for Planes 2 years ago, and we do have a history of talking with Disney. It was always kind of in the works and something that we would do, and it just took quite a long time for us to get that license. But it's a great one to have, because there's so many at the moment. Disney films are just being pumped out every month, which conveniently ties in with our updates. We pretty much do them on a monthly basis. So we're doing Lion King, we're doing Aladdin, every film.
So you need the contract to do the colouring works.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another way.
We do, yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You can almost piggyback on their own advertising.
Absolutely, yeah. Why not? Maximum exposure, tie in with their movie releases. Weirdly, Disney are really, one of the key factors and most enjoyable aspects of this app is that you can mix and match brands. You can mix the worlds. You can take someone from The Incredibles and put them into Belle's Castle. They don't actually like that. They don't want us to use that in any of our marketing materials. They always say, no, the Toy Story characters have to be, if you do a video. So it's actually one of the most exciting aspects of the app, but we often can't showcase that in marketing materials, which is a little odd, but they're just very protective of their properties and where they exist.
But within the app, when you color it, you can actually
Oh yeah,
you can change the words.
absolutely. You
So that's quite exciting that you
Yeah,
can actually
it's one of the best things about it.
piggyback off that to be creative.
Absolutely, but we're unfortunately not really able to showcase that too much in a lot of our, especially our static images like these. So these always exist in their own worlds.
So in the app, can Simba and Woody and Buzz meet?
Yeah, you can bring them in. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and they can all interact with each other.
There.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been adding content to this and subscription models as well. You know, you can not only add content, you can just improve the app. We've been adding like increased functionality. We've been adding better drawing tools, more sensitivity in the coloring. So we're just incrementally improving the product and trying to get it to the vision where we want it to be.
Do you know, can they come out of the virtual world through your app? Do you know if Disney would let you do that?
We do have another app, which this was kind of billed as a sequel to it in a way. We acquired it a couple of years ago and it's called Disney Color and Play, and it's kind of the introductory thing. And it does use AR, but it uses it in the sense of you color the page, you get specific coloring pages and you scan it in. So we acquired that portfolio, and then kind of with this in mind that this would be an extension of that, and that we would probably ultimately retire the other one and introduce the elements of the first one into this, which is the long-term plan. So I don't think it might be a personal idea because they have already played around with it before.
It's really, this is like,
Yeah.
people are doing Pokemon anyway, so
Yeah.
there's an audience, a buying audience out there for that.
Yeah.
Now you're saying, right, you can make your own kind of like Pokemon characters through our app,
Yeah.
put them in the real world and watch stuff happen. I mean, it's just, it's kind of mind bending, but there are people doing it already. And like, so the River Vision people are pretty close to it. Very clever, very rudimentary movements.
Yeah.
The character you draw with your pencil or your stylus or your finger then has those attributes in the real world. Even though in the real world it's just a cutout character with no color in it. It's very, I mean, kids can interact with it, and it's yet another audience.
Yeah.
It's an AR audience.
Yeah, we do have an AR product out there. I have a video over here, but like people do get so immersed in it, and you find yourself kind of looking over the device and kind of saying, kind of have to take a step back. I don't know, what is it there? But like AR's potential and VR's potential is amazing, and we have tapped into it a little bit, and we've always kind of thought, we want to pursue it more. So who knows?
Well, the Disney World inside of VR is really, I mean, it's amazing. Like
No, it's definitely it's an exciting prospect, and like I said, we do have an app that kind of plays with that, with the first iteration of this, and we have every intention to start to introduce that tech into this at some point and expand on it and improve it and make it a bigger and bigger product through this subscription model. We have another subscription-based app which follows the same monthly yearly subscription, and that's Hungry Caterpillar Play School. This has been out a little bit longer. We're now coming up to our version 6. Like, that doesn't mean we've only released updates 6 times. Those every whole number is considered a major update, and then there's many point releases in between. This has been out for a year and a half now, so by now it's a really, really rich, jam-packed user experience. There's everything from ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, matching pairs, a newly added activity. There's jigsaws, puzzles, exclusive animations within it, videos, math-based exercises, an extensive library of books. There's so much in it, it's really full of content now. With the subscription models, you can really kind of tie into seasonality as well, which is always nice. It adds a bit of variety within it. So coming up to Christmas, we'll be, winter skies, adding snow to a lot of our products. We tied in recently to the whole back to school because it's such an education-based app. We did a big push at that time, a lot of new content for that. And this year, they're celebrating it all year, but this year marks the 50th anniversary of The Very Hungry Caterpillar. So we knew we were going to do something big for that. And in last March, we did probably our biggest content update yet with this product. And it's an ongoing celebration. So Hungry Caterpillar is immensely popular at the moment. And we are definitely doing whatever we can to factor in those celebrations and be part of them.
So your advertisement there on is kind of looked to me, or sounded to me to be kind of geared towards the American market.
I mean, it's a huge market. I mean, we definitely aim global. Like at the moment.
Yeah, that's what I was commenting about.
Yeah.
The Asian markets, the Chinese. Are you hitting those as well?
We are with some products, and this one, like Duplo, for instance, is localized in 26 languages. It's been one of our biggest releases so far. That for us was a worldwide release. Sometimes we might release in one territory or with, one or two languages and add translations over time. Kind of what we're doing with Hungry Caterpillar. It exists only in English speaking, but we have US English and UK English. So we have that within it, but we very much have this. We have other Caterpillar apps out there, and some of them exist in the Asian market. I was actually in Japan there on holidays a couple of weeks ago. This guy's huge over there. There's a huge market for him over there. And we do have every intention of getting it over to the Asian market, getting more languages in there. Disney as well, we're starting to localize in other languages. Disney's not too text heavy, there's not much localization required. There's very little text, whereas this has a lot of books involved in it. It has a lot of instruction-based VO that would need to be translated. So yeah, we tap into a lot of territories. A lot of the branded content that we've worked with, sometimes it's not known maybe here or in Europe, but it's big in Japan, it's big in Asia, it might be big in America. So we might play on that. So we definitely look for global reach with a lot of our work. I'll just play this video here. This is the video that is in the app, kind of tutorial, but it's good to kind of give a sense of the product itself and how it's best used.
Congratulations! You've opened the door to a world of knowledge and wonder. In the beginning, it might be a good idea to sit down and explore your app with your child, especially if they're very young or unfamiliar with technology. Pretty soon, they'll be just fine on their own. Just give them support and guidance as they need. Young children love to repeat things over and over. This repetition strengthens connections in their brains, reinforcing new skills and knowledge. So, we've designed Hungry Caterpillar Play School to encourage your child to play with it over and over. We recommend children play with the app for 10 to 15 minutes, once or twice a day. A few shorter sessions are more effective for learning than one long session. New content is added regularly, so be sure to check in and share the new experiences with your child. Play and grow with Hungry Caterpillar Play School.
So yeah, we've been looking at this. It's been the #1 education app in over 25 countries. And I said earlier that we have a lot of Caterpillar apps. This is our main one, and we are working consistently on it. We do have a lot in our back catalog, and one of them is my very Hungry Caterpillar AR. So when Apple released the AR tech, the augmented reality tech, we hopped on board very early and we got this together. And when it was being launched, Apple gave it a huge push. Between this, there was an IKEA app and a Walking Dead app. So the three of those apps were being used as kind of the demo apps, and Apple were really pushing them. So we got a lot of exposure with this app, and it's currently free, and we've made the app completely free now as part of the 50th anniversary celebrations, and we plan on just keeping it free so more and more people can enjoy it.
Lego with children is popular too. You see some life teaching.
Yeah, it's 90 years ago.
I'm letting them into my world. Millions of children all over the world love caring for their very own, very hungry caterpillars. And now he's out in the wild with my very hungry caterpillar augmented reality experience. Feed him tasty fruits. Play with him together. Watch him grow. Explore your world. And there's lots of surprises to discover. Learn about nature, and when he's tired, let him get some rest. When he spreads his wings, another adventure begins for you and your very own, very hungry caterpillar.
It's so cute, I can't bear it. So yeah, we just kind of had some fun with this tech, and we decided it doesn't have to be a practical reason for using this tech. Let's just use it for storytelling. Let's see what we can do with it, have some fun with it. And yeah, it got a lot of exposure. It got like great. It was a really successful release for us. It really kind of taps into that nurturing aspect and the whole Tamagotchi thing that always proves very popular. So yeah, the caterpillar is hugely important for us. We have many other apps in our catalogue as well. It means a lot to us in the office, so we celebrated his birthday with a big party earlier this year, and he makes the top of our Christmas tree every year. He's up there. And our office mascot, Mac, even has his own little aircar outfit.
You use Macs across the board, Apple Macs.
Oh, we would use them for, we use them, but we also, they're really good from a design point of view, but we do use Windows and everything, Unity is what we use to develop our apps as the software that we use for the majority of our apps.
Just quickly, you were talking about how Disney are very understandably precious and they design off and everything. How does Eric Carl work with?
So
he's very particular.
Yeah, and it's such, there's a real distinct style to the Hungry Caterpillar and the Eric Carl world. We took an interesting approach years ago when we first started thinking of making the caterpillar 3D, because it's so 2D and its style, it's so flat. It's all based off of the idea of it's like paper collage. So in theory, I don't think they were taken to the idea when we pitched a 3D caterpillar to them. We actually went off and made it, and then we showed it. Bit of a different approach, but they kind of needed to see it to have the confidence in it. Because when it was just an idea, I think they were dismissing it and saying, no, it's not our brand. But we convinced him and his team, and luckily we've been able to use that 3D caterpillar now. It appears in 3 or 4 various apps. But yeah, we do still use the 2D style a lot within Hungry Caterpillar Play School. Like all the books would be in the 2D artwork. We've been working with them now for 4 to 5 years, so we've gained a trust with them now. So the partner turnaround times and approvals are actually quite minimal with Aircar, because we know what they're going to say. We know the brand so well now. It's the app I probably work on most, and I kind of live and breathe Aircar's artwork now and think how he makes it. And every time I make something, is this how it would work? Can you do this with paper if you're working in the 2D environment? So yeah, there's a trust there now, but they were reluctant at first, but we convinced them. So yeah, those 3 apps kind of comprise what the office and the team are pretty much working on most of the time. One exciting thing though that we are doing as well is we are embracing voice technology and voice activation and getting ourselves onto the Alexa platform. So this was kind of a strategic decision, and we were in talks with Amazon, and kind of like the AR app, we like to get a head start on any potential new technology. It's kind of one of the key factors, I think, that we've been here for 8 years. We don't shy away from it. We embrace it, and should that tech take off, we've got ourselves a head start. We're kind of already pioneers of it. We're in there, we're in the mix, we're in the thick of it. So we don't shy away when it comes to embracing new tech and a new challenge. We have 2 Alexa apps out currently, and rather than devising a whole new product for them, we looked at our catalogue. We have an extensive catalogue when we take into account the Touchpress games portfolio and the Touchpress media, which target an older age group. And it probably would suit the Alexa more because it's a little bit more advanced, a bit more sophisticated. And so we looked to our portfolio to see what would lend itself well. And we came up with 2 titles. One is Master Swords. I will quickly play through this here now.
You've been called to battle. Words are your weapons, and you fight goblins.
So it's a battle game. It's a spelling game at heart. You have to spell words, and they influence the narrative, and there's a lot of back and forth. So this, because it's a word-based game, at the heart of it, it suited Alexa really well. But it's definitely a challenge when you strip out the whole visual side of an app. It's my bread and butter, the whole visuals. So to imagine something purely from a voice control point of view was definitely a challenge. And I mean, the audio team and the scripting team and people involved in that would have done an absolutely amazing job. So the other app that we took, and this was a bit of a beast to take on in terms of voice activation, but we have an app called The Elements, and it works really well on iPad because you get to see all the visuals. It's real like pinch and zoom, go in and have a look, and loads of text. It was a tricky one. Master Swords is probably overall a more enjoyable experience. This is very much from an academic point of view, but we took it on and it was a heavy workload because there's just so many. The book that this comes from is a huge coffee table book, and with the iPad version of it, it still replicates that, but some of the Alexa devices do have a little screen on them and they are introducing them, so some will have a little bit of visuals with them. We have had to adapt to that, but for the majority of it, you can't rely on it. These are voice activated. So we've released a few products. These are only currently available in the US. We are doing a few more because these have gotten a good response, and I think it's shown that we've embraced the technology and that just by us being present on the Alexa skill store, it does well for us. So we are going to keep doing some work with Alexa. We've got 2 more products lined up and more original. We're not looking to content we already had. We're now making brand new content for Alexa. So we've got an interesting one coming up with so many different narratives. It teaches you about the whole construct of a story and narrative, and you can influence it. And yeah, I don't know how our scriptwriter is still with us. That must have been a head wrecker, but he did an amazing job on that. So yeah, there'll be more added to that over time, and hopefully we might get it out to more territories and get it outside of the US, but at the moment it's kind of a soft release there to see how it goes. I will quickly go through 1 or 2 other products that we have in our catalogue just to show you some of the variety and some more of the styles that we have.
Sure. With Biffy, there's lots of fun and laughter. Good girl stuffing. And lots to do. This is fun. Woohoo! Play, building blocks. Grow the food in Miffy's garden and bring them to the kitchen to make delicious cakes. What a busy day it's been. Night.
So that's Miffy's World, and I will show 1 more here.
What's the age group of that one?
That's quite young as well. We're probably talking 2 to 5 on that one. It's kind of similar to we have an app called My Very Hungry Caterpillar, and it's similar kind of day cycle. You go into it daytime, nighttime, feed them, put them to bed. Again, that kind of nurturing aspect. Quite a few of our apps rely on. It proves very popular. Another app here is Mother Goose Club. This is a YouTube channel, and this was our first foray into subscription models of any kind. We released this, I think, about 3 years ago now, and Mother Goose Club doesn't really ring any bells here, but in Ireland it's not very particularly well known, but it's huge in the US, and we never shy away from the challenge, and we kind of just we identified that it had such a huge YouTube following. Their videos get ridiculous levels of views. So we started talking with them, and we were thinking, what if we worked with you guys? How could we build something if we could get a fraction of that audience imported over to the app? We'd be doing very well. So we looked into it, and it kind of became a mostly video-based content. We added a lot of books, and in a similar capacity to Hungry Caterpillar Play School, which came after, activities, matching pairs, odd one-out quizzes. So just to give you a sense of what it's like.
Mother Goose Club, proud winner of 3 Mid-South Emmy Awards.
It has a mixture of styles. It has TV, live action,
Full access to hundreds of videos, books,
3D renders.
with lots of brand new content added every month. And you can download all your favorites for when you're not on the internet. Perfect for
Driving in my car.
a trusted collection of educational content for preschoolers. When you subscribe to the Mother Goose Club app, you'll never miss a thing. Download and try our apps for free.
How aware did you do live action?
So all this is filmed in an office in New York. We didn't partake in this. They would provide the content to us. They had reams of stuff. They had so much. They had so many shoots.
Together.
Yeah, exactly. All this content would have been produced by the Sockeye team, which is the company that looked after this.
Yeah.
But we just took all the content and all their materials, and we tried to put some shape onto it and put it into some sort of a subscription service and, an app that made sense. And it is heavily video based. So they provided a lot of the content for us. But yeah, it was a lot of work. It was a big challenge. This is our first foray, like I said, into subscription. There wasn't much known about that model back then, and we know a lot more now, but it was definitely challenges in the production of it. But great one to have out. So yeah, I mean that's a lot of our products. As I said, I've been here in this company 8 years. I've pretty much been here for the entire duration of the company. Many other competitors and similar companies we've seen kind of come and go and not get the traction that we've had. So we've been really, really lucky to stand the test of time and still be here and still to be producing content. So we've kind of tried to boil it down to a few reasons why we think we have been successful and that we're still here. So we have a proven track record. We have high volume of downloads. 70 million, I think it's actually quite a bit more than that. We average about 1 million downloads a month.
And what percentage of that is revenue?
Not as much as we would like. Like I said, we make a lot of our content free. So a huge amount of those downloads would be probably free downloads, but better lots of people see it than no people see it in charts. So we really try and give as much possible. We will work on how to improve our conversion rates. It's something we constantly look at because the revenue is what's going to keep us going as well. But because we're reaching so many people, we're reaching enough of those people and that high volume, we're getting to enough people for them to buy the apps. So yeah, we have a high volume downloads and that's been consistent. We're known for high quality. We've won a lot of awards along the way. We do really put the time and effort in. We're all there to try and make the best product possible. And we've been lucky to get several industry awards along the way and increasing exposure and people get an awareness of these awards and know that we must be good, we're doing something right. And we get good user reviews across the board. User reviews you definitely want to be listening to them, we try and engage with them as much as possible. As I said earlier, you do get a lot of reviews that maybe are 1 star, but if you look into them, a lot of people are just talking about this isn't free. And we try and get back to them and do what we can, but from genuine reviews, we are doing very well. We do get high review scores. We have an amazing team. We are 25 people approximately at the moment, all coming from different backgrounds. The art team that I manage is 6 people, including myself. I manage the team, I manage the department, but I'm still very much an active resource. I'm still working on these products. The team are so good, they pretty much manage themselves. I don't have to do too much. But yeah, we've a great team. We have a lot of variety. We really, as I said earlier, we don't shy away from changes in the industry. We grab them, we do what we can with them. We really try and mix up our offerings. We embrace change in the industry, and had we not have done that, had we have kept doing the pop-up books that we did in the first year or 2, we wouldn't be here. It's nice to still go back to them and they still exist, but we had to evolve, we had to add to our portfolio, we had to mix it up and add variety, and we've been doing that in many, many ways.
And is your audio department, did you say it was actually on site as well?
Yeah, we have an audio department on site. We're extremely busy with Alexa. It's taking up a lot of their time, but yeah, we have an audio team on hand. Distribution relationships, I mean, we don't just do take commercial decisions, we do strategic decisions sometimes. We liaise with Apple, Google, Amazon, all the major platforms as much as we can. We'll provide them with updates on what's upcoming, so that we're on their radar. As I said, featuring is never a guarantee. But if you let them know and keep engaging with them, they're much more inclined to feature you because they know what's coming. They can kind of plan featuring windows around your releases and stuff. So we really are our relationships as best as we can, and we let people know what to expect going forward for us. And yeah, global coverage. I mean, we work with known brands. We used to always do just original content. Again, we had to really embrace change. We had to start taking on licensed content, and that really, you've got an established audience with these well-known brands. So that's improving our global coverage as well as localizing and translating our content as much as possible. So as I mentioned, Duplo, 26 languages. We really try and translate and make the content accessible to everyone wherever we can. Where we don't do that, like, we do try and build stuff that doesn't always require localization. A lot of our products we put in as little text instructions as possible. A lot of it will be, tutorials might be just through play. So some of our stuff might not require translation because it translates by itself anyways. It doesn't have text or anything to translate. But yeah, global coverage is massive for us and we do everything we can. So I have mentioned pretty much everything I mentioned almost so far has been licensed and branded content, which is really, really amazing to work on. To be trusted with those brands is fantastic. And to be part of those worlds and just know that your content and what you produce is reaching a large audience is incredible. Every now and again though, we do get the opportunity to work on something original, come up with ideas. Not so much anymore, but it's still there's always potential to do it. Very much in the earlier stages of the company, this would have been something we did more, but it still exists. There are amazing things to work on, particularly from an art point of view, because you can really sink your teeth into them. There's more freedom. You are in control. You, as a company, can make the decisions. There's no partner to send content off to. If you want it to be that way, you make that decision. And most of these apps, we have more that were all original IP and intellectual properties, but these have all been relatively quick to produce because we have that freedom and we can just make snap decisions and we can run with something if we like the idea. So from an art point of view, these are always really, really exciting to work on. But no matter what you are working on, whether it be original content or the licensed content, a lot of your approaches are the same. You still tackle the production in the same manner. So there's a lot of key stages, and I've mentioned earlier working end to end, and it's an amazing part of the job. So from an art team point of view, you might hit a character design stage, particularly with the original products. So this is something I love to work on. I like to be quite quick. I like to be not precious with my work. Everyone has different ways of working. Some people, I always admire people who can publicly draw in front of people. That's not a skill I have. When I draw, I have to shy away. I kind of go into my corner, and it takes me not a long time, but it takes me a couple of goes to get to something. So I work quick. I work this kind of thing on the left-hand side. These are really quick kind of initial tests. Just what kind of character silhouette am I looking for? And you can develop the ones you like then. And this is the same for so many different stages of production, testing something quick. Does that work? No, throw it out, let's go again. Okay, let's work on that one. So it's applicable not only to character design, it's to so many other aspects of the production. The character design is more than just all different varieties. I like to if I'm doing character design, I would like to put them in a bit of a situation, not just static, try and imagine them doing something. And storyboarding is so crucial to us. The art team spend a huge amount of time storyboarding. So it's crucial because it answers so many questions up front. It's not just showing composition and cameras. For us, we're able to put in, where's the UI going to be? What is it going to look like in terms of different aspect ratios? All our thumbnails correspond to the iPad, and then we can add other sizes onto the sides of them. What are the interactions going to be in that scene? So up there in the top right, we write down every single interaction, and we can map that out. Over the years, I've taken on some of the coding, and we have written a lot of kind of bespoke code over the years, and our own XML, our own language of sorts. And I've gotten to know that, and I do actually quite a lot of code, and it's quite nice that I can immediately just go and be in control of the content and make it move myself. And it's just something, an area that I identified, and I actually quite like the technical aspect of the art creation and the animation. But yeah, write down the interactions, how is it going to work, and I can think of those up front before going too far down the road with it and wasting any time. So much can be answered just in these thumbnails. So these are absolutely critical for us. We do tons of these. These are probably one of the key stages. So taking sketches, if required, into fully rendering them up, making them ready for integration into whatever engine we're using, ready for production, acid prep, chopping them up. So whether it be an original content or actually taking artwork from a licensed brand, artwork that's been provided for us, filling in gaps, possibly cutting it up and prepping it for animating.
What do you use for rendering that?
So something like this would be Photoshop is one of our key pieces of software. Might use Illustrator and stuff, but Photoshop is, we do so much. But
Blender completely.
we still use Blender. We use Blender so much in the earlier stage that it became such part of the process. So I mean, it's free, you know, it's a great tool. You can't argue with free software, you know. Often it does, if we're looking for simple models, we absolutely sometimes use Blender. These are just 2D renders here, so I would have just painted these up digitally, but we would use the likes of Maya for 3D renders. But yeah, very much Blender was absolutely crucial to us in the first years of the company. We had Blender, we had such a pipeline.
So what kind of RAM were you using then? Presets to actually execute the render?
Yeah,
Why is it not?
It's not too bad. I mean, with the likes of Unity kind of renders in real time and everything. It's very efficient. We do some 3D in our office, but we only have one person on our team who's kind of a dedicated 3D resource. A lot of our 3D for high volumes of work, we will bring in external vendors and we might work with them and scale the production accordingly. There isn't a requirement for a big 3D team. People know bits of 3D and can certainly hop on and do, but we do have one 3D resource and he works. He does a lot of the feedback and stuff, but we work externally, and for anything too demanding, we would probably outsource that. But yeah, the likes of Unity and everything, you know, handles stuff really well. We do work within, you know, restrictions, and we're always trying to be as clever as possible working with them. And, you know, from an art point of view, I don't just create content and hand it over to the engineers. I'm very much thinking of file size, you know, efficiency and production. In my 8 years there, I've become pretty ruthless with it. But you really build up an awareness of it, working smarter and more efficiently over the course of production. I mean, apps, I think they've increased the file size now, but you're always trying to hit that 100 megs mark, you know, at the end of it. And it's all about the user experience. The user doesn't want to be downloading high volumes. So yeah, we kind of really try and think smart across the board.
Fiona, do you know the screens where it's consumed, your mobile or iPad or whatever?
Yeah.
Do you know what differentiate where it's being used most often? Through the range of apps.
Yeah, no, we do definitely look into that. The iPhone, I mean, we used to target iPad as the core device. Yeah. Not so much anymore. I think we find there's much more of an even split now with the iPhone. I think between, you know, iPhones and phones in general are getting much bigger, and they're kind of tablets in themselves. And
it's cross-platform, isn't it? You're going to Android.
Yeah. Again, one of the things when we first started, we were iOS only. We were only Apple, and you know, year 2, okay, let's look to Android. We can't ignore this market. Okay, we need to let's look at Microsoft. Let's look at this. So yeah, it's all been part of the journey, definitely. But we have very much Android. I mean,
it's a bigger market.
Yeah, it is absolutely. You know, everyone thinks of iPhones and iOS being probably bigger, but it isn't. Android is so much.
It's just so open.
Yeah.
So where are things heading, Fiona? Do you know, in the whole scheme of things with technology? I know voice interaction is going to be massive, but what else?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that goes, because it absolutely will be massive, but will it be massive in the kids' space? How's that going to go? We played it a little bit safe and kind of gone with the older category stuff. But yeah, I mean, who knows? I'll be very interested to see how the next apps play out for us, and I have no doubt it will take off to some degree for sure. And yeah, we if it does, we will absolutely be there to embrace it and grow our portfolio accordingly. Yes, the art team look at so much. One of the things as well that we look at is we would be doing mock-ups, we would be doing menu designs, we would be like the image on the right here, for instance, is a menu design. Rather than going ahead and implementing this and doing it up in the engine, we would just mock it up and imagine how we would look and send something like that off for approval, rather than spending time implementing anything like that. So we spend a lot of time doing mock-ups. We do sketches for any time we want to design new menus and stuff, we might do some sketches and imagine the flow. 3D requirements, we would be looking at everything from modelling, texturing, the lighting in the scene, if the work's been done in-house or there's feedback from external work. So there's a huge amount in the 3D space that is being worked on. And things like your app icon. The app icon of your products are so important. They're the one image and the gateway into your product, and they can be the make or break factor in terms of people downloading them or people clicking into it and having a look at the product. So we try and do as much A/B testing as possible. The Google Play Store is great for this because you can do it instantly. So we can put up variations of an icon design and see which one proves more popular, and that then informs our decision-making process. So we can use it in the likes of Disney to kind of prove which characters are popular, and we can use it from, it's so interesting because you can start to see what colours do people respond to, you know, what kind of compositions work well, and they're quick to produce sometimes with us. Like Miffy is an app that's been out there for quite some time. Recently we did this test just to see would downloads increase on something that we were doing no other change to. It still exists in the same way, but what impact would just a simple icon tweak have? And with this instance, massive impact. That one in the middle with the dog just shot through the roof. It will be different on a product by product basis what works, but I am convinced that dogs are the way to go. Dogs must go in all app icons in future. You know, it's hard to kind of pinpoint why it works. You have to do multiple iterations or multiple series of A/B tests to really identify patterns, and you kind of have to ask the question before you test. So in this instance, it was, you know, will a full body pose or that kind of interaction between two characters prove more popular? We also tend to see really good results when you do something a bit more radical, because people can get very used to seeing an icon. If they've dismissed it once, they'll dismiss it again. So if you do something to change up that icon, so if you go from a horizontal pose to a vertical pose, people take a step back and go, oh, is that a new product? Or this is something new. So it can be something as simple as that makes people click into it. So the app icon is not to be overlooked. It's such an important aspect of it, and it's the entry point for the product. So we try and give it as much time as possible. Marketing materials. Mentioned earlier that we do whatever we can to get the word of mouth out there and get our products known. We'll do little things like, you know, little simple GIFs. GIFs are always great on social media. They attract more attention than a static image would. So we'll try and produce these, you know, in the hope that they'll get shared. We'll run competitions, we'll give away, so a lot of those Duplo sets we will be giving away. We do tie-ins with that, and we do a lot of marketing updates to constantly show users what's in the latest update for, say, Hungry Caterpillar, what's new to Disney this month. So the marketing needs on the art team and requirements are pretty much full-time. We can always be doing more. We do what we can, but we could constantly put up updates on us, you know, we could be constantly doing materials for it. So there's no end to what we can be producing for those, and we do what we can. So I have talked heavily about the art side of things, because that's where I am involved, but app development is so much more than just the art and content side. There are so many other departments and areas, and collaboratively they make the product. So this is just an overview of what we have in our office, and what's great about a team of, say, of what the size that we are, 25 people, is you get some level of crossover. As I mentioned earlier, I have taken on some aspects of coding. I'm by no means an engineer or a coder to the same degree that the guys would be, but I know enough to do what I need to do. I know enough to make something be animated, and it's enough for me to be in control of the content and actually do what I need to do without constantly going into the engineering team and saying, oh, can you move this, can you do this? So it just speeds things up, you know. Over the course of time, people have identified areas and shown an interest in others, and we would have people that are across 2 or 3 of these at times. So it's a really nice environment in that sense. But to break it down, there is product design. Product design is thinking of the whole experience. How is it going to work? What's it going to look like? How is it going to flow? How is the user experience going to be? So thinking about the whole product. where it sits in the App Store, what the age range is, thinking about the whole holistic product. Scripting, so we need to get every bit of text that we're going to do, scene setups. For Alexa, scripting was such a huge aspect of it, but scripting, yeah. Learning design, we want to make sure as a company that prides itself on making educational content, we really want to make sure that we're in line with best practices and that we're doing everything we should be doing correctly. So we incorporate learning design, code and engineering, as well as the art team, probably the biggest team that we have, and the two biggest teams. So the actual making of the product, the coding, the working in Unity, the actual building, the interactions, and the implementation of the content. Art and content production, I've run through pretty much most aspects of that. Audio and video, and we have a combined team. So always audio involved with all our apps. We have sound effects on, we have music. The audio team would be looking at narration involved, any translations we need to get done. Video aspect of it, for the likes of Calendar Play School, we have video in-app. We do video production. For every submission that we do on one of the stores, we upload a promo video. We do videos for our marketing materials. So there's the video aspect encompasses a lot as well. Production management is the department that keeps all the other departments in check and makes sure that we're hitting our targets, we're doing everything to the agreed schedules, that every department is working together and delivering what they said they would and keeping us all on track. Quality assurance is so important. We're going to try and get this department in at earliest stage as we can when we make a product. These are the guys that will test again. They will rigorously test, and they will feed back to all the other departments where there's bugs found, where there's errors, where there's improvements to be made, and we try and do as much of this as possible. So
do you do it on site, or do you
Yeah, we do it on site. We do it on site.
You don't have people in their house?
No, do it on site.
Big office space for the city centre.
Well, there's 25 of us, these teams aren't necessarily massive. We have 3 QA people currently, so that's why it's so important we factor them in as early as possible, and we very much encourage people to self-QA their work as well, people to be aware, and everyone by nature is, because they're proud of what they're doing, they want the best content out there. So ideally when we present a product to QA, it should be in very good shape as it is. There is definitely an awareness of people to self-check their work as much as possible, take care of it. And the marketing department, as I mentioned, is massive for us. They not only get the word of mouth out there and tell everyone and get as much exposure for our products as possible, they'll look into possible relationships and partners to work with and platforms where us to share our work. Some companies, what they do is they will buy versions of our app, the likes of say VTech or companies like that, to have pre-installed on their devices. So marketing are constantly looking at possible partnerships and identifying other areas for us to get into. And then finally, business intelligence. This is the tracking of analytics, statistics, looking at trends within our apps, looking at what's proving popular. And this is so important to influence, particularly with the likes of subscription or where you can't iterate and add content. It informs the decisions that are coming up. So if a certain activity is proving popular, we will take advantage of that. We will do more of that. We will add to that activity.
Break it down. Break it down.
Yeah, exactly. We can look at times spent in activities. If people are making it the whole way through, if people aren't, what's happening, what's going wrong there, something isn't working, so we'll go back to that and improve it as we can. So it's a key decision-making aspect for us, looking at those trends and identifying what we need to do. Otherwise, we're kind of working blind. We're guessing, which will work to some degree, but that knowledge and that information is there. So it makes sense for us to take advantage and use it. And finally, part of my role would be to look at hiring our team. This was very much applicable earlier when I was chatting to the college. I think they always want to know how to take the jobs. But this will give you a sense of, the key factors I would certainly be looking for. And a lot of these aren't just for the art team. These are kind of the qualities that we would look for almost as a whole working with the company. So very much higher with the idea of people being strong generalists, someone who's able to work end-to-end comfortably. Being a generalist is a skill set in itself. It's something that a lot of people might say they can do, but can they do it well? A lot of people like to say, I can work across the board, but people who can truly do it at a comfortable level can be quite rare. And because we're a small company, we don't have a background department, we don't have a character design department. We need people to be able to come in and work comfortably across the board. They'll have their strengths, and absolutely we can play to those whenever those opportunities arise, but someone who is more than capable of working end to end on various different tasks and on all those different aspects I was showing you earlier.
So you're implying from what, 26, 27 upwards and age group wise, is it? If you were takes a while to get all that experience.
But I was coming out of college wanting to be a journalist. I couldn't pinpoint one area.
And you're different. 10 years of age, you were there early.
We hire a lot of people directly out of college. You know, we have no requirements by any means. People can learn on the job. You know, we take on a lot of internships through summer, and when I take on an intern or a trainee, I don't like people to come on for a week or two. I want people to come on for like 2-3 months. I want people to come in and get really stuck in and have an impact and be able to be a full-time resource. I don't, trainees to me, if they're coming on, I very much consider them a full-time resource. But we have people coming straight out of college. We have one of our hires on our team 6 months ago was graduated straight out of Clonmel. He's doing a great job, so no age bracket whatsoever. Sometimes getting people directly out of college can be great because they don't have any habits formed. I know myself, I didn't have anything else to go off of, and I have worked with this company in mind, and everything is kind of developed with that, so it can absolutely work to the advantage sometimes. Being versatile, and a lot of people with artwork have their own natural style that they veer towards. I mean, I know I do. Wonky eyes and kind of goofy characters. The key is that not just to have that, but to be able to use your art skills to mimic other art styles. We work pretty much predominantly on licensed content and with other people's artwork, so we need people to be comfortable matching that style and making it look visually seamless as if it was created by the same pair of hands. So if someone applies, I want to see that they are able to adapt across the board. I love making children's content. So much will stand out if people have this, and it's such a nice industry to work on, and I genuinely think it's an absolute privilege to make children's content. It's a joy, and it's something I think people just have a genuine love for, and people expressing that passion and people expressing the interest, really so much will come out of that if someone is wanting to make the best product possible. They'll naturally have initiative and be self-motivated, which is really important because, like I was showing you with the departments, we're a mid-sized company. We want people to kind of put their hand up and say, I can help out in this department possibly. I could be of use. I've identified something here. Someone who's not just going to do the tasks that are assigned to them. Everyone really kind of pitches in and makes suggestions, and we're all there with the same goal in mind. We're all there to create the best product possible. So we're all coming up with ideas wherever possible and self-motivated to do so. And then finally, someone who's a natural problem solver. I mean, this is really important for us from our point of view because we work with a lot of restrictions, whether they be physical or in terms of file sizes, the actual assets we have to hand, or if they're in terms of resources that we have available to us, or time. Time is the biggest restriction of all. So someone who can creatively think of solutions and make sure that any restrictions that we might have had are not apparent in the product, and it's not evident that we were restricted in any way. So real problem solving, real coming up with creative solutions and thinking on the feet is very important. So that's kind of it.
What's the gender balance? What's the different aspects of your job?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I haven't actually tallied it up recently, but the last time I did, it was like it was pretty much bang on 50-50 across the company, and that is something that has just organically happened through no push or anything like that. So it's always been very good. For instance, the art team is 6, including myself. There just happens to be 2 male, 4 female. It actually sways in favour of the females. Engineering, we might tend to get fewer females. That just seems to be part of the industry. But I do think there is, this has been brought up a few times earlier as well. I do think it's getting more popular. It's people are aware that this is a career avenue hopefully now, and this is a prospect. But we've been fortunate in that in the company overall, we've had a very nice organic, pretty much 50-50 split. That's kind of it. That's everything.